Innovation and everything revolving around that is what pushes the gaming industry as far as we can see. Everything that we see between competition between Sony, Xbox, Nintendo, and everyone, EA to other third-party developers competing with themselves and each other, is what actually helps gaming go further down the line. And that's what's happening right now. There's a lot of talk about Xbox really putting in questionnaires for people about their controller, and if it's going to be just like the PS5's controller, which is the Duel Sense. Now, I have to say, a lot of these rumors and a lot of these details are out there, and you can see them everywhere. It's been the talk of the gaming world right now, especially the controller. But honestly, I wanted to go into detail about every single one of them, because I have a feeling a lot of people are putting these comparisons together, and honestly, that's good to do, because when you start comparing other companies with each other, that's when competition thrives. It's when competition comes together, and it's what happens when customers come first because of this competition. So I wanted to get into this, I wanted to talk about all this, and go into details about the trademarks being put in by Xbox and Microsoft, and also talk about the controller competition that's happening between Xbox and PlayStation. And if you asked me this question last generation, I would easily say Xbox won the controller competition because I love that controller. But lately, this generation, Sony came to play with their controller, and I'm happy that they did because there's a lot of details in that controller that I enjoyed. So let's get into all of these details and all these new rumors and new tech coming from Xbox and Microsoft. But first, like always, if you like the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Alright, so first up is the controller. Let's talk about this because you know what? The DualSense 5 to me is actually pretty good. I've enjoyed it. I've played Miles Morales on it. I've played Astro's Playroom, which really showed a lot of the details with the controller and a lot of its features with the haptic feedback. Everything about the controller is improved to me. I've enjoyed it far more than I did the PS1 controller, the PS2 controller, the PS3 controller, and yes, the PS4 controller. Every controller throughout the generations at PlayStation I haven't really liked. Until the DualSense 5. It actually changed my mind. I've enjoyed playing games with it. I actually want to go back and play Spider-Man and all the other games like God of War with it because I just find it the far superior controller. And that's where this comes into play with Microsoft. Microsoft understood that there's a lot of details and features within the haptic feedback that a lot of gamers liked on the PS5. And now they're asking their own customers if it's something they've heard about or if it's something they want in their controllers. Here's what the article starts off by saying. Microsoft is asking Xbox owners if they would like PS5 DualSense features on Series XS controllers. Microsoft is using a customer experience survey to ask Xbox Series XS owners if they would like to see any PlayStation controller features made available for its consoles. Now, there is a questionnaire attached to this, and I'm going to throw this up on screen as you can see. Right now, you can see they're talking about the console is high quality, and they give you degrees from strongly disagree at 1 to strongly agree at 4. Now, this is where things get interesting. They really do hone in on next-gen features in this questionnaire. As you can see right here, it says the console feels faster than any other console I've used. That's obviously a direct comparison to the PS5. And then it says this console feels next-gen. This is where things get interesting because honestly, a lot of people felt with the new interface that Sony put into their PS5, they felt very next gen. You remember the whole resolution gate of the console where the UI was 4K on PS5, but it wasn't 4K on Xbox? That was because a lot of people said, hey, you know what? It feels a little more next gen on the PS5. And that's something I think Xbox heard and really wants to hone in on to make their console, the Xbox Series X, way more desirable. And that's where we go into the next questionnaire as I'm going to throw up on screen. Have you used your shared button and all that stuff and all the new features that they brought into their console? Do you see how they're comparing the two consoles together and the share button and all the new features their controller has? Are you satisfied with how I could share screenshots and videos with your share button? How skilled are you using a console gaming controller? These are the people that they're trying to figure out. Are these people newcomers to their console or are they veterans that they want to know exactly what they want from their consoles? And then there's this one. I am aware of features on PlayStation controllers that I wish were on the controller that came with this console. Now that's where everything takes a turn because we know that Sony and the PlayStation 5 have really honed in on their controller because they did do a drastic change to it, and I'm happy they did. I've been a proponent about that for the longest time. I know that Xbox really has the best controller because I love it. That's just me personally. But for the PlayStation, I've said it before, I never liked their controllers, and one of the biggest things they needed to do to really hone in on people joining their ecosystem or people like me joining their ecosystem is changing the controller. And it's something that they did, and they really did put put in a lot of cool features with the triggers and the haptic feedback and really making it feel different. I really enjoyed my experience with it, and it's something that a lot of users are saying here. I'm aware of features on PlayStation 5 controller that I wish were on the controller that came with this console, reads one statement in the survey, which respondents are asked to agree or disagree with. The survey also asked specifically which controller features Xbox Series XS owners would like to see and whether they believe their new console feels next gen, according to Tech Radar. Now, that's just the survey coming into play here. That's a lot of what Xbox is trying to do. They're trying to get a real understanding of what their competitors are doing right so they can maybe mimic it or even enhance it. This is what every company does in the industry, and it's something that I think the haptic feedback did. I think a lot of people were surprised with it, and gamers really made us think about it on the Xbox One controller, which is something said here. Haptic feedback and adaptive triggers are incredibly difficult to sell in a television commercial or written articles such as this, but trust us that when you first experience DualSense, they're simply magical, VGC wrote in its PS5 launch review. Now, I have to agree with this because it was really awesome to really feel that controller. I heard a lot of people talking about haptic feedback before the controller came out and before the consoles came out, and I wasn't sold on it, honestly. I was kind of like, what's the biggest thing that can happen? I feel a little more rumbling, but in all honesty, it actually did make a lot of difference. I've really enjoyed it there, and I've actually really enjoyed it in Miles Morales where it wasn't overbearing. I know a lot of people that find it as a gimmick and they turn it off. When I play first-person shooters and I want to be competitive, I'm turning it off because I don't want any distractions while I'm defeating my enemy. But now in single player games, I can see that really taking place and taking hold and actually building a market out there. And I can also see Xbox really looking at this and thinking, hey, this is something that we can implement into our controllers. And then we could go into detail right here about what Phil Spencer himself had to say about it. I applaud what they did with the controller, not actually for, well, I shouldn't say not for the specifics of the controller, but more just the specifics of the controller, he said. I think for all of us in the industry, we should learn from each other and the innovation that we all push on, whether it's distribution of business model like Game Pass or controller tech or the Wii back in the day, which clearly had an impact on us when we went off and did Connect and Sony did the move. Spencer added, I think all of that innovation is something that we should all be looking at and learning and growing and saying, okay, what's really going to break out and become a common part of a platform that developers and players are going to look for. Now we can all agree that Xbox is looking at this, and we can also agree that every industry looks at each other. When Nintendo does something amazing, Sony pays attention. When Xbox does something amazing, Sony pays attention. And just vice versa. It's between multiple companies. Everybody's looking at each other to see how can they improve upon each other. That's what competition is. And that's exactly what Phil Spencer is talking about here. He says that he understands the innovation within the controller, but it shouldn't just be about the specifics. It should be about them looking at something different and really trying to improve on something they knew they were behind in. Because while I know a lot of people love the DualShock 4 controller, we all have to agree that the Xbox controller has always been one of the best. And it's never been a problem. It's never been up for debate. Xbox One controller and the Xbox controller for the last couple generations has been top notch. And that's something that I think Sony understood, and it's something that they really wanted to hone in on with the PS5. They really went in and made changes to the controller that I honestly didn't see coming. And I'm so glad they did. I remember when the controller was first revealed, I was like, that's kind of funky looking, but I'm glad they did something different because I might enjoy it now. And that's what I think Sony and Xbox are doing right now. They're innovating while the generation's being pushed forward. These consoles have come out already. We already know that. We already know everything about them. We know the tech inside them. We know that there's going to be features coming in the next couple years as developers get their hands on the tech and the GDKs. But overall, we know that these consoles are going to keep moving forward. That's the main thing. And we understand that these controllers are going to be a big part of that. And seeing Xbox and all of them taking questionnaires and changing everything up is a big deal to me, because I see that Xbox isn't just resting on their laurels. They aren't waiting back. They aren't waiting to make change. They're actually being proactive and giving questionnaires to people that are in their ecosystem. That's a plus to me. So let's hope that continues, because I think that the innovation could go further. And I feel like controllers are a big part of that because that's what we play our games on. But I want to know what everybody else thinks on here. I want to know what you think as you're listening to this video. Do you like what you see from the PS5 new controller? Do you like the haptic feedback? Have you played around with it? Do you feel like it actually makes a difference in how you play your games? Did you play Astrobot's Playroom to actually get a feel for it? Because that game to me takes the most advantage of what we see on the controller. Like when you're ice skating or anything like that on that controller, it feels it. You can actually feel like you're ice skating. It's pretty intense. And do you want Xbox to mimic this controller? Do you want to take some of the haptic feedback, add the features that you see on the controller, or do you see it as a gimmick? Because I know a lot of people that play Destiny or play a lot of Call of Duty actually see this as a hindrance to their gameplay. Go down below and let me know, where do you think this fits in? Do you think it fits in with single player, or could it be something that can be transitioned into multiplayer games? So go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. Right now, I'm playing a lot of Nex Machina, I'm playing a lot of Space Marine, and honestly, I'm playing a lot of Call of Duty. I've been going through the campaign and really enjoying that. The new Call of Duty, I've actually gotten a lot of hours out of. I've almost got all the achievements on the zombies, I've gotten a bunch of achievements on the multiplayer, and now I'm just working through the campaign while still doing zombies. So yeah, this latest Call of Duty, I've actually really enjoyed. And I downloaded Doom Eternal on Game Pass for PC, and really going through there on PC and playing it. That game's a lot of fun. I mean, I love Doom Eternal. It's probably one of my games of the year next to Immortals, and I'm just playing through that game on PC to see the difference, and honestly, it feels really great on there. I think PC and Xbox really have a great relationship, and I'm glad that they're putting their first-party games on there and on Game Pass, so I can try them out on both systems. I love it. But let me know what you're playing. Go down below. Are you playing on your Xbox Series X? Are you playing on your PS5? What controller do you like the most when you do play on your consoles or your PC? Let me know down below, because I love talking about games and I love seeing what everyone's playing. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.